Here's what you need to do to purchase your home this year. Hi, I'm Montane Okoye. I'm a real estate agent in the DC metro area. So the first thing that you need to do is to get pre-approved for a loan. And I always tell clients to get pre-approved for a loan based off of the monthly payment that you can afford monthly. Your monthly payment is your principal, your interest, your taxes and insurance. And you also want to consider if there are condo fees or homeowners association fees as well. Also, you want to consider what the utilities will be in the property and if there are any other expenses that you have to pay. In the Maryland area, when some properties are newer, you might have an extra assessment, an annual assessment called the front foot benefit assessment, and that's typically paid at the beginning of the year. So you will want to consider that as well into your budget. Also, you want to consider property maintenance costs, because if you are renting a property, if something breaks, you know that you can just call your landlord and they're going to take care of it. When you own the home, guess what? You're the landlord. You have to be prepared to take care of those items. So you want to budget for things that could break, toilets that need to be unplugged. You might need to call a plumber. You might have some electrical issues. So you want to factor in those expenses into your budget as well. Somebody asked me recently, Montane, what is the point of even purchasing a house? Equity, the difference in what a property is worth and what the buyer currently owes on the house. Also, there might be like certain tax benefits that you have as well. If you own a business in your home, there are certain tax deductions that you can get. Also, just that sense of ownership, right? You own something. This is a goal that you've aimed for. And to be successful in real estate, I always like to say it's just all about being patient, right? Patience is a virtue. Property appreciation, sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's rapid, but you just have to be in it for the long haul. Just like the stock market, you just can't hop out every time the market dips. You have to just be patient, and slow and steadily property values will increase with time. The next thing you want to do is to uncover your needs and desires. What's really important for your family? How many bedrooms and how many bathrooms do you need? What schools do you want to be close to? How close do you need to be to the highway? Some people move to be closer to work. Those are all of the things that you want to take into account. And if you have a spouse, you too want to be on the same page and make sure that you are talking to each other and figuring out what's going to work for the both of you when you're determining your search criteria. I always tell people that real estate is like finding a partner. There is no perfect partner, like there is no perfect home. You either are going to have to pay more money to get the most beautiful house, or you're going to have to make some concessions. So just kind of keep that in mind when you are creating that search criteria. One of the main differences I've seen in people who purchase homes and people who don't is that they have realistic expectations. I know some people that are still waiting for home prices to hit rock bottom, or they're still waiting for certain things to happen, and years go on and on. So you want to have some realistic expectations of what is going on in the market. Next step is to preview homes. And I like to tell buyers to preview homes when it's lighter outside. You never know if you have a neighbor that's a hoarder. You never know if there are any, it gives you a good opportunity to see the roof, to see windows, just to see a lot of elements that you might not get to see when it's dark outside. I also like to encourage people to go to open houses. And an open house is when a real estate agent opens up the doors of a home and allow people, the public, to walk in and see the homes. The estate agent will typically put out signs outside to attract people to come into the house. And that's typically a time where people can come assess the house, even if they don't have their real estate agent with them. Either the listing agent or an associate of the listing agent will be at the property to be able to walk you through the property and answer any questions you have. If you do have a realtor, you can still attend, but it's just a time for the public to come in and view the house and ask questions about the property. If you have a property that's near a school or a church, you might want to go when school or church, or if it's a business, you want to go when it's actually in session so you can kind of see the people that are coming. You want to see how many cars are in the area, and just want to make sure that you're comfortable with what's going on in the neighborhood. So I also recommend that if neighbors are outside, just talk to them. Hi, how long have you been living here? How do you like the community? You know, what can you tell me about the neighborhood? Definitely make sure you talk to neighbors and ask them any questions that you have about the property. Nothing is really hidden right now. So you can go online and you can see different prices. You can see what different homes cost. And that's a good place to start. If you know that you're pre-approved for a certain amount of money and you're looking online and you're not seeing that property, then there's a chance that your search criteria and your budget are not quite matching up. Next step, after you've previewed a home and you've seen the house, and people always ask me, Montane, how do I know if this is the right home? You're just gonna know. It's gonna either be a home that you can take your shoes off and walk in, or it's something that you are excited to renovate and make it your own. So you're definitely gonna know when it's that right house. After you have gone out and you've seen the house that you like, the next thing that you need to do is make an offer. And sometimes you need to make an offer sooner rather than later, depending on the type of market that we're in. So what goes into submitting an offer? So if you want to submit an offer on a home, you first need to get a copy of your pre-approval letter. Then you want to have all of the terms laid out that you're interested in presenting. The property address, the sales price, the settlement date, the settlement company that you're gonna use, how much earnest money you're gonna put down. And earnest money is a good faith deposit that you're gonna put down that's gonna go towards your down payment or your closing costs. That tells the seller, hey, I'm interested in this property, please take it off the market. It's typically 1 to 2% depending on the time that you're purchasing and how competitive it is. So in this area, we use forms by our different association of realtors. So a lot of the forms are pre-written and we're just filling in the blanks with the terms that you have discussed that you're interested in. So when you submit an offer, what can you expect? Well, there are 3 things that can happen when you submit an offer. Your offer can either be accepted, which is very rare, meaning all your terms were accepted, but hey, congratulations. Your offer can be rejected, like this offer is too low or it doesn't make any sense. We're not even going to counter this offer back. And the third thing that can happen is that your offer can be countered, which instead of you offering me $550, I would prefer to get $575. Thank you for your offer. Instead of you going to closing on February 14th, I would prefer for closing to take place on February 18th because I'm going to be out of town. So it's just a change in terms. Once you have a meeting of the minds where the buyers and sellers have agreed to all of the terms, then you would have everything initial and signed, and congratulations, you are now under contract. And from the date that you're under contract, the clock starts ticking. So if in the offer you agree to have your home inspection in 5 days, that means it has to happen in 5 days. Your settlement date is going to be, if you said it's going to be 21 days to settlement, 21 days settlement has to take place. If you said it's going to be 17 days for financing contingency, that has to happen in 17 days as well. Once you're under contract, every week you want to be checking in with your loan officer. You want to complete your loan application. That's typically done within 3 days. You want to receive your initial disclosures. So 3 things you want to know from your loan officer when you go under contract is, what is your interest rate? What is your monthly payment? How much will you need to bring to closing? So I have a pretty comprehensive contract to close process. And once my clients go under contract, I send them a letter telling them, congrats, you're under contract, and telling them all the things that they need to expect. When you're under contract, there are certain things that have to happen before you get to settlement, and they're called contingencies. So a home inspection. So if the home inspection goes well, then we're going to move forward with settlement. If I can get my loan approval, then we're going to move forward with settlement. If I review the condo documents or the homeowners association documents and I like what's there, then we can move forward with settlement. In a competitive market where you have multiple offer, the fewer contingencies, the better. So sometimes I've seen sellers take an offer that was lower because it didn't have an appraisal contingency or it didn't have a financing contingency. They just don't want to have anything that's going to deter the seller from going to settlement. So they'll choose the offer that has the least amount of contingency. You'll want to send a copy of that contract over to your loan officer. You'll want to send a copy of the contract over to the title company as well. The title, which is also called the settlement company. Now, what is the purpose of the title company? The title company is there to search the property to make sure that it's free and clear of any liens. And they're also going to be the ones that's going to provide you with owners and lenders title insurance. And they're also going to be the people that are going to conduct your settlement as well. And you'll schedule all of your inspections. You can have a home inspection done, and that's a physical inspection of the property. They're going to check the appliances. They're going to identify anything that's hazardous. They're going to look at the roof. They're going to look at the windows. They're going to look at all of your major systems. They're going to look at your plumbing. They're going to look at your structure. They're going to look at your heating system. And they're going to do a comprehensive inspection. Now, you know that we're human and inspections typically take an hour to 3 hours. So they're going to catch as much as they can get during that time. Of course, once you live in the house, you might see other things in the property, but they're going to do as comprehensive of an inspection as they can within that time. There's also a radon inspection that can be done. Radon is an odorless, colorless gas. It's the second leading cause of lung cancer. Inspections typically are based on the area and square footage and can cost anywhere between $350 to $850 depending on who's doing the inspection. A termite inspection can cost anywhere from $35 to $75. Radon inspections can cost anywhere from $150 to $250. Radon remediation costs anywhere between $800 to $1,200. You do your home inspection, there are a couple of things that you can do. If you have a regular property inspection, that means you can now, if things come up at the inspection, you can go back to the seller and ask the seller to address those things. Some properties are as is, so when you write your offer, you want to write your offer as is with the right to walk away. But we know everything is negotiable in real estate. So sometimes even if you have an as is contract that's in place, if something comes up at a home inspection, you can still ask the seller to address them. The next thing a buyer is going to need to do is to get hazard insurance. You want to get 2 to 3 quotes. We all know from the fires in California that you definitely want to get property and hazard insurance, okay? And that's going to cover you if there's fire. You also, if you're in a flood zone, you want to get flood insurance as well. And you want to make sure that your home is properly covered, the land, and also the cost of building that house should something happen to it and they had to completely rebuild. Stay on your loan officer and make sure that you get your loan commitment within the time that you're supposed to get your loan commitment. And then you want to get what is called a clear to close. Once we get the clear to close, that means that the mortgage company can now fund this loan and that you're definitely going to closing. Congratulations. Then you want to go ahead and schedule settlement, and then you want to have your final walkthrough. At the final walkthrough, you're going to be able to walk through the home and you're going to be able to make sure that if the seller promised to repair or replace any items, you're going to check those items and make sure that they were done. You can either do your final walkthrough with a real estate professional, or you can bring the home inspector back to come and do a final walkthrough for you. And they typically do that at a discounted price. So what can you expect on settlement day? I know settlement day is the day that everybody's looking for. Make sure you get cute because you probably want to take some pictures. That's a really big thing that you've accomplished. So be ready to take your pictures and be ready to, just be proud of yourself on that day. You want to make sure you take 2 forms of ID, and you can double check with the title company exactly what type of IDs they need, but you typically need 2 forms of ID. Prior to settlement, you're going to find out who the utility companies are, and you're going to contact them, and you're going to transfer utilities to your name as of the date that you go to settlement. 3 days before settlement, you would have gotten a closing disclosure from your lender, and that will tell you how much you actually have to bring to closing. Remember in the beginning, I said that you would request an initial cash at closing, but now you're going to get that actual cash that you have to bring to closing. And typically now, the title company requires you to wire those funds over to them. So you would just want to make sure the wire transfer has taken place and you'll be ready for settlement. Typically now at settlement, I'm seeing a lot of split settlements, and that's when a seller has their settlement and a buyer has their settlement. So typically you will not be at the table like we used to be. You might be there with your real estate professional and with the settlement officer at that time. What you can expect on settlement is just to arrive at settlement on time. Plan to be there for at least 2 hours. The title company should have a blue pen, but typically plan to sign everything with a blue pen. A settlement, you're going to review your documents, you're going to sign them. Also, if you know that you're somebody who's very detailed and you need time to review documents, see if you can request your documents within 24 or 48 hours prior to settlement. A lot of things on the settlement documents are standard, uniform documents that everyone signs, but you want to make sure about things like your interest rate, the property address, your name that's being transferred. You want to check all of those things out and make sure they accurately reflect what they're supposed to. And if this is your first home, just remember that your first home doesn't have to be the dream home. It's just a start. It's just a foot in the door for you to get used to paying a mortgage, for you to get used to knowing all of the things that comes with the responsibility of owning a home. So it's just a start. It doesn't have to be the final destination. Hope you found this video helpful. Let me know any other questions that you have about buying a home. Are you interested in buying a home? Of course, my name is Montane Okoye. I'm in the Maryland, DC metro area. If you know anyone here that I can help with their real estate needs, please let me know. I'm happy to help them. Have a great one. And let me know the next topic you want me to discuss on my video.